Morning. And today is another work day, as most days are. We got up at 5 in the morning, and it's also shoulder day. So I got my cup of coffee sitting here, my morning kombucha, as well as a morning apple. Oh,
some good fucking food.
And yesterday I actually got my copy of Persona 3 Reload. Obviously I'm not going to be playing this for a little while because I still have to finish and 100% clear Obscure. But I'm not going to play that after I'm done Clair Obscure. I need something much more light after such a dark, epic RPG.
Extremely.
And taking on another one is probably going to be a mental fiasco, if you know what I mean. So, but I am excited to play through Persona 3 Reload. I've already played through Persona 3 before. But, yeah, my roommate said this is a very good remake. So, and I've seen good reviews on it. I also want to play Metaphor Refantasio, but that one was $40. This one's on sale for $20, and I'm just trying to save a little bit of money right now. I mean, I'm not in dire straits or anything like that, but much higher sale. So we got this bad boy instead. And also, I put a pre-order out on Pac-Man World 2 repack, so I'm excited for that when that comes out. Still haven't played Pac-Man World repack yet. I heard it's a lot of fun, and I do want to try Shadow Labyrinth at some point, but that is neither here nor there. Anyways, let me chunk this coffee down. I gotta brush my teeth, and I gotta get on the bounce to work. I'll catch you guys later today. We are on our way to the gym after a long day of work, but it's nice to get to the gym while the sun is still out and hot. And like I said, today is shoulder day as well as hard cardio day. I have all of my shower stuff with me so that way I don't smell like a dying walrus after my long cardio and shoulder workout. Hopefully the gym isn't too packed today. Normally around this time should be fine. I already chugged my pre-workout. That's starting to kick in now. And as I am doing my cardio, I know I'm going to get twice the energy because that really gets the blood rate going up. And I am excited. And no, I'm not showing my face right now because I still have sunscreen all over it. And I look like a mime. But you will see it at the gym and you'll see what my face looks like with sunscreen, even though you've already seen it as already. But anyway, let's get to the gym. And for today's workout conversation, I figured I'd talk about remakes, more so remakes of video games I would like to see. Now, remakes are kind of on the rise a little bit because, I don't know, maybe we just don't have any new original ideas, but some of them have been solid. The Final Fantasy VII remake was really popular. The System Shock remake was really good. But what are some remakes that I would personally like to see? Speaking of System Shock remake, I would love for them to remake Deus Ex, the original one. Given that they did a re-release of the Conspiracy on the PS4, PS5 store, I think it'd be awesome for them to do the System Shock remake style and just remake that game, give it updated graphics and visuals, do some gameplay tweaks. Obviously, keep the game where you can go through the whole thing and not kill anybody, but just give it a few modern gameplay design with just how the game controls, and we got a solid, reinvigorated masterpiece. And it'd be fun to see a Daggerfall remake, but that might be too big for modern tech if you've ever played Daggerfall, you know what I mean? And of course, I would love to see a remake of the game Chrono Trigger. Now, do I want it to be a Final Fantasy VII type remake where it's an action RPG? Or do I want them to keep the turn-based combat? I think with the popularity of Clair Obscure and Metaphor Refantasio, keeping it turn-based would be ideal and awesome, but I wouldn't hate it if they would try to take the world of Chrono Trigger and make it turn-based, and also give us a third Chrono game, because Chrono Cross was pretty good, but I want to see a third Chrono style game. You know what? That's kind of what Clair Obscure is in the end, but never enough Chrono. And I'm home from the gym, and today I have young adult ministry, so I'm excited about that. When I go tonight, I think that's another conversation because I'm still trying to get my circadian rhythm into making sure I'm always up at 6 a.m. And YA ministry tends to go not too late, but it does kind of officially wrap up around 9 p.m. So as much as I would love to go, it's a cost benefit analysis type thing.
Piece of shit.
But that was a fun shoulder day overall. Didn't do a lot, but definitely felt the pump in, and you can see it in the shirt too, so that's nice.
Is the pump.
But when it comes down to it, just need a solid workout and to make sure the muscles are always growing. Yes, I'm well aware of natural limits, but making sure muscles are growing and making sure we're always on the bounce and always moving, getting that cardio in every day. And I was surprised I got that much calories burned within the cardio, within those just 12 minutes. I mean, it's a newer step mill, so maybe it's a little bit faster, I'm not realizing it. But anyway, I'm gonna relax for a little bit, wait for my roommate to get home, see what he wants to do with YA Mystery, because I know one of our people isn't gonna be there anyway, and see if he wants to go there, or if we're just gonna have more of a laid back day, or if I actually go. We'll see. But anyways, I'll catch you guys later tonight. Peace. So one thing I'm mildly excited about is I saw a video recently about how people were dealing with Souls fatigue, which that came out of complete nowhere. The video I did the other day where I was talking about how Soulsborne games aren't really my thing, and then today as I was scrolling through YouTube I saw a video about Souls fatigue, and I think it comes to a similar thing I was talking about, where it feels like a lot of action games are just taking so much inspiration from the Souls-like genre, and that's okay because the Souls-like genre works for a lot of people. But when it comes to me, obviously it's not really my thing. There are a few exceptions. Like I said, I like not Scarlet Nexus, Stellar Blade. Sorry, I like Stellar Blade a lot, but that kind of, I think, mixes the Souls as well as the more aggressive character action game thing, something like Devil May Cry. But I wanted to actually show off a few games that I recommend when it comes to more traditional action, not just Souls-like. There's Castlevania. This one's Lords of Shadow. This bad boy here is definitely more inspired by the older God of War games. I never played the newer ones. Just never had an interest in it. I might one day because people say they are quality games. A lot of people say they play more like movies that sometimes have gameplay in them. But that's for me to find out one day. But Lords of Shadow, I thought this was like a cool evolution of the Castlevania game series. Now, unfortunately, it isn't canon to the overall Castlevania lore, and I don't think there's been a Castlevania game since this, which is a shame. I mean, there's Lords of Shadow 2, but I don't think there's been a Castlevania game since Lords of Shadow 2. And that really is a shame, because Castlevania is one of the coolest series out there. I mean, you play as a vampire, awesome vampire hunter in all of them. And I would really like for them to try to take another swing at this. There was ones before this that were kind of like the Metroidvania style Castlevania games, but they were in 3D. If they would fuse that with the gameplay of this, that'd be really great. Apparently that's what Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2 did, or attempted, and just apparently a lot of people said it didn't work out. But this is an RPG, and this one I think is actually very, very underrated. There's going to be a few on here that a lot of people know about, but these are just kind of these are examples of what I wish some action games would try to be, and some action RPGs would try to be, as opposed to everything attempting to be the next Souls-like, as opposed to making something new. I mean, you got Dragon's Dogma. You got games like Dragon's Dogma, which is awesome. You got games like, I'll just show them in here. I didn't put Dragon's Dogma on this, but mostly because I couldn't find my copy. Anyway, it's called Trinity Souls of Zil-Ul. I put a lot of hours into this game because it has a lot of content in it. A lot of it is just the same repetitive thing over and over and over again. But for the most part, I really enjoyed this. Is it a masterpiece? No. This is the 7 out of 10 game, but that's not a bad thing. This is like if you made Dynasty Warriors, Hyrule Warriors, Dragon Quest Heroes into an action RPG. That's essentially what this is. And it works great. The fact that more RPGs don't try this is actually insane. I think this would be a great formula for more action RPGs. Obviously, we don't want to do the Souls thing where every action RPG afterwards just copies this, or not this, but the Dynasty Warriors style of combat. Because it can work really well, and this is a good example of it. It's not for everybody, and this didn't get the highest reviews when it came out, but I think this is an underrated gem. This series has actually been getting on the rise a lot recently. The series has turned into a turn-based RPG system with the Yakuza Like a Dragon, but this could be any one of the Yakuza games, at least the action-based ones. I double-checked to see if the disc was in there because it didn't sound like it was. But Yakuza 0 is the cult fan favorite so far of the series. I mean, all of them are great. My favorite is probably Like a Dragon, the one that became a turn-based RPG, mostly because I love the characters in that one so much. Don't get me wrong, Kiryu and Majima are masterful characters, but there was something about, maybe it's because when Like a Dragon came out, we were still in lockdown, so I had nothing to do but essentially play Ghost of Tsushima and Yakuza Like a Dragon. So I got really addicted to those characters, and the gonzo bonkers action in Yakuza before they turn turn-based is awesome. There's some times where I think some people might not enjoy the pacing of it. What do I mean? More so in the sense that in the older ones, it was random battles, but as time went on, it was you see the bad guys and then you just immediately get into a fight with them. It still like kind of goes into an arena setting, but there's no longer random battles. At least I remember there being random battles in Yakuza 4. That was the first one I played, and I said, that was fine, but it wasn't until they did the Kiwami remakes that I actually got into Yakuza. Those are really solid action games, and this is one where it's like a power fantasy where you're just Kiryu and you're just beating the ever-loving heck out of everybody, and you can just find objects in the background, grab them, and just beat the piss out of everyone. It is awesome. I mean, everyone knows this series by now. At least most people do. I think the cult following is becoming just a true following. And don't sleep on the turn-based ones either. But the action ones, that's where it's at. Everyone says this is the natural evolution of the Shenmue games. And I think they're right. I've only played a little bit of Shenmue 1. I have that on Dreamcast, by the way. I bought that because I was like, hey, can I see that copy of Shenmue when I was at Too Many Games one year? They said, sure, and they handed it to me, and I was just kind of looking and checking it out. So if you buy it now, we'll take $10 off of it. I was like, okay. So I have a copy of Shenmue for Dreamcast. Anyway, back on to the next one. This is the one that I think was destined to be a series, but unfortunately, there was a lot of weird controversy when it came out. And it is Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. This is the re-release. And what's the controversy? Well, part of the reason why I didn't buy it originally was it had an online pass for a game that's a single-player campaign, and you had to buy the game new in order to get that. And I thought that was so stupid that I refused to get the game. They added it back in with this, and eventually they did turn that around. But that was the dumbest thing, and I think that did a lot of damage to the game because that was around the time when online... Does anyone remember online passes? That was such a weird little moment in video games where you had to buy the game new in order to play games online. That was nuts. I think a lot of the games that had that wound up getting rid of it. And even Rage, does anyone remember the game Rage? Even that pulled that BS because they had... because I pre-ordered that game, I just knew it was a game from the guys who made Doom, and I wanted to play something by them. I didn't know that until afterwards. But Kingdoms of Amalur is awesome. The only thing is I wish you could do more air stuff. That's kind of like a nitpick, but it's like kind of God of War, but not totally, because you can't do as much bunker stuff. But the combat is so clean and precise that if it wasn't for that that stupid battle pass that Battle Pass 17, thing. But that online pass for a single player game, that was dumb. I cannot believe they did that. Truly, that was dumb. Like, they really damaged the game for no reason. The game could have been a success, and it really is fun. They had a good story too. It's not the deepest and most thorough RPG on the planet, but it didn't need to be because the combat in this, man, this is another one. How I said I would wish there was more Dynasty Warriors like RPGs, more RPGs like this. That would be awesome. And this isn't an RPG at all, but there's Spider-Man for the PS4. This is just where we're talking more straight action here. And obviously this is more of a, Assassin's Creed, old school Assassin's Creed, and Batman, the Arkham series style combat. And that's not a bad thing, because it makes you feel like Spider-Man. Because could you imagine a Spider-Man game when you're trying to do the Souls like parrying, and even when the Marvel's Avengers game? And here's the thing, I actually really enjoyed Marvel's Avengers for the most part, but when you played as Spider-Man, it didn't feel naturally like Spider-Man. In this, you felt naturally like Spider-Man, and they did that perfectly well. More because like the Arkham style of combat has kind of faded away. Even Assassin's Creed, I don't think does it anymore. I haven't played Assassin's Creed since Black Flag. Even though people said like a few of the more RPG style ones are pretty good, they just say, I almost said Ragnarok. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is when things kind of got off the rails. I haven't played it, but the more traditional, like, this is the evolution of the beat 'em up genre in 3D. There was games like Dynamite Cop and things like that, which were beat 'em ups in 3D. But the Arkham style of combat is what I would envision taking, an old Streets of Rage game and evolving it over time, slowly but surely, and putting it in 3D. Like, if they made a 3D Streets of Rage now, that's kind of how I would imagine it playing. And they did that really well. I don't know why they're kind of not doing that anymore, because it's a great combat formula. And maybe with Spider-Man 3, if they ever make a Spider-Man 3, and I know there's a Miles Morales and as well as Spider-Man 2, but outside of that, there's like not many of them anymore. Back to RPGs. The next two are going to be RPGs, and Nier Automata. This one is like kind of like more character action RPG, similar to. It's produced by Platinum, right? I'm not making that up. Square produced it, but Platinum. Platinum Games were the guys who made it, and because I want to make sure I wasn't going crazy, Platinum are the guys for modern character action games. Some people say their newer stuff isn't that great. I never played Babylon's Fall. Is that what it's called? Some people didn't like the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game that they made, which I saw gameplay of it. It looks fun. It looks fine. I liked their Transformers game. Bayonetta is always awesome. These guys are great at character action games. You got Bayonetta, you got Vanquish, you got Nier Automata, you got the first Nier. Platinum knows what they're doing, and their style of combat fits perfectly into a free-flowing RPG. Not every RPG needs to be free-flowing, mind you. That's something I keep reiterating. I don't know why, but I would like to see more RPGs that are more, or action RPGs, mind you, that are more gonzo action and less just waiting around, dodging, attack, dodge, attack. I'd like to be in there, just going after them. And this game makes you feel like that. They even have fun little mini games in between the combat where you can even hack into your enemies. And the multiple endings, there's a lot of them, but some of them are just you have to like goof something up and then boom, you have a magical ending. This game is awesome. This game actually has a very solid cult following. I don't think we're ever going to get a follow-up to it, but then again, how do you? I guess you kind of followed up the same way Nier 1 was an unofficial follow-up to Drakengard, and how this is a follow-up to the original year, because it is in the same timeline, but just years in the future. A lot of fun. Like, if you need an RPG, an action RPG that can just relieve the Souls-like fatigue, definitely pick this one up. And kind of similarly to Kingdom Hearts, this one is almost character action, but not completely. There's still it's not turn-based, but it still has some turn-based mechanics in it, if you know what I mean, where you do have to like pick item or pick spell. I mean, there's quick keys on the controller and things like that, but this is a great deal, by the way. Getting all the Kingdom Hearts games, and I think the only thing about Kingdom Hearts is I don't think they outside of 3, I don't think they did a complete release of it on Xbox, which is weird. Like, Kingdom Hearts is one of those convoluted timelines. Like, because you have to own a different system to get to get the complete story. I mean, unless you got this, but then you need PS4 to play this, and if you got Kingdom Hearts 3 on Xbox, you have no idea what's going on because you needed PS2 for 1, and then a Game Boy Advance for 2. I mean, not 2. Chain of Memories. They eventually did a re-release, Chain of Memories, and then PS2 for 2. That's fine. You know what? It's a spin-off game, just one-off. I'm sure it's important to the plot, but and then you needed a PSP to play Birth by Sleep, the prequel, and then to play the other prequel in between that takes place during Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 358 and a half days, you needed a DS. Then if you want to play Coded, which is actually the direct sequel to 2, you needed that on a phone, but then you could also get it on the DS years later. And if you want to play Dream Drop Distance, which is a direct sequel to that, you needed a 3DS. And then if you want to play Birth by .02 Birth by Sleep, you needed a PS4. And then if you want to play the back cover, that came with a bunch of them. I mean, a lot of these were re-released on the PS3, so that's fine. But again, if you wanted to play, I guess the Kingdom Hearts is just convoluted with its timeline and how you needed that many systems. But we're here to talk about gameplay. Kingdom Hearts 2's gameplay, I still think is the best one because 3, I thought, was trying to go too over the top. I think 2 was the one that was the most balanced in combat as well as magnificence, if you get what I mean. Everyone's played Kingdom Hearts, so you all already know how it plays. But it doesn't feel like there's outside of Final Fantasy 15. But even then, you don't really get a set rhythm to it because you just hold down circle and everyone starts attacking. And I have not played the Final Fantasy 7 remake yet, so I don't know how that plays out. Even though, funny story, I pre-ordered that during the lockdown. Oh no, I didn't pre-order it. I ordered it at Walmart during the lockdown. I did an online thing. And I didn't know how online ordering worked. So I went in and I said, hey, I'm here to pick up a copy of, and here's my receipt for it. They said, oh, one of our order pickers has to get it. I was like, okay, I didn't know that. How long is it going to be? They said, oh, about another hour. So I was like, can I just run back and get it? And then they said, well, we'd have to refund. And I was like, you know what? Can we just cancel this instead? I don't feel like dealing with that. So, because I never played Final Fantasy 7 Remake. And the last action game. This is not an action RPG. This is just a standard action game. And it's made by the people who make the Souls games, Armored Core. Because Armored Core is awesome. It's outstanding. You're a machine. Literally, I mean, you're someone piloting a machine, but you're just blowing other machines up. That is so cool. Why are there not more games like this? I know there's a Mech Warrior games, but those are a little bit slower paced from what I saw, which is fine. That's its own step. That's its own series. And a lot of the Gundam games are like more tactical, or they're, the Gundam Warriors games, stuff like that, which, like I said, they have their place. But a Gundam game that's more like Armored Core, and I remember Asmongold, I think he was playing a game called Mecha Break, which is like multiplayer Armored Core, so there is some stuff out there. And even FromSoft, they made similar games to Armored Core, but it feels like the only games that are doing this type of style now is this series, and maybe some offshoots every now and again. And I remember I saw this, I forget what it was called, but I was looking up mech games, and there was another one, but it played more like Diablo, which is cool in theory, but at a certain point, I'd rather just play Diablo. But this shows that even the guys who made the Souls formula can expand out from just making Soulsborne games. And I wish they would. I wish they would try something like, because obviously you can't have them go too over the top with how different they think different things are. Like, I'm not expecting them to make a tennis game or anything like that, even though that might be awesome. But to see them actually making games that aren't just Souls-likes is cool as heck. They made a horror game once, which I heard was pretty cool, even though I still say, and I think a lot of people do agree with this, the Soulsborne games are unofficial horror games. Or maybe not unofficially, because you do have resource management, you do have scary backgrounds, scary lore, all that stuff. Monsters that are terrifying to look at. But these are games here that, if you're like me and you're kind of fatigued with everything being all action games, not just like action games in general, or action RPGs being more Souls-like as opposed to being more not, these are some good recommendations. I mean, some of these in here most people have already played, but this was kind of a what comes out to me first. And obviously there's some underrated gems in here, like Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning, Trinity Souls of Zul, and Castlevania Lords of Shadow, which people like Castlevania Lords of Shadow, but it's kind of gotten pushed on the rug after all these years. But just goes to show that there is still quality action games out there, but everyone wants to be the next Souls game because it makes a lot of money, as opposed to expanding out and being willing to try something different. Like I said, you can't go too over the top, or maybe you can. We don't know, do we? The most gonzo action game ever. I mean, don't get me wrong, Devil May Cry is absolutely insane. Doom is insane, that's a different type of action game. And Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, that's kind of what inspired me to make this video, because that's what those guys were talking about. Just an off-the-wall, bonkers action games. Bayonetta, Devil May Cry. That Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, Turtles Take Manhattan, I think that's what it's called. It's probably not that at all. I still think it looks fun. Vanquish. We need another Vanquish game. Can we get another Vanquish? I mean, I know the cover-based shooter genre has kind of gone the wayside, but Vanquish is a game that really had potential to evolve continuously. I mean, obviously, as I keep saying, you can't keep changing things or else it's no longer what it was. But Vanquish, you had Vanquish 1, and then you make a sequel to Vanquish and you improve on it already. And the gameplay in Vanquish 1 was already solid. You continue the story, because the first one does kind of end on a cliffhanger. Man, I want another Vanquish, because that game was so cool. It was hard at times, don't get me wrong, but being a dude, this is my thing, being a dude in powered armor just wrecking stuff, man. We need more of that too. Give me dudes in powered armor just wrecking stuff, and not just in the Warhammer 40k games, and not just in Doom. Give me more dudes in space armor, power armor, make me fly around, shooting stuff, even just give me a blade, just go bang. Stuff like that. Imagine a fantasy setting where it's just like a mythical fantasy setting where you're a dude in a knight's armor, but it's functions like powered armor. That would be cool. Someone use that idea. I'm giving you free ideas here, game developers, and y'all should be thanking me. Platinum, make a sequel to Vanquish. I will pre-order that. I don't pre-order games that are... I don't buy games that are $70. But Platinum, if you make Vanquish 2, I will pre-order that just to prove the point that I want another Vanquish game. And with if you make a Bayonetta 4, please... Bayonetta 3 wasn't bad. Keep that in mind. But make it play more like Bayonetta 2. Please, because Bayonetta 2... Oh man, that game so good. I bought a Wii U just for that game, by the way. It's a shame I can't play it on anything else, but I'm happy I did get to play it day one. It didn't have as good of a final boss fight as Bayonetta 1 did, but Bayonetta 2's gameplay, that was peak character action until Devil May Cry 5. Oh my gosh, Devil May Cry 5 is magnificent. Even if you want to get the Platinum Trophy, you have to do all that difficult stuff, which I don't have the patience for. But playing through Devil May Cry 5 and just seeing how good I can get, that was awesome. And Dante and Virgil, I would love a Devil May Cry 6. I would love a Devil May Cry 6. Please, someone give me a Devil May Cry 6. I would love... This is me being pedantic because RPGs are my favorite genre, but I would love an action RPG with the Devil May Cry characters because I just think that'd be so, so cool. Where they finally face Satan. And I know that Mundus is technically the Satan of Devil May Cry, but the act, like they say, there was one worse than Mundus. They called him the first fallen angel, Lucifer. And you just go down there and you just go, Dante's quipping, Virgil's trying to take things seriously, Nero's having dad issues, spoilers for 5. Man, I want a Devil May Cry 6 would be a banger. And bring V back even. I know, like, spoilers, but V is just Virgil. I mean, if you didn't see that coming, it's literally his first the first letter of his name. But bring back some character action games. We need them. Like, all these examples here of great quality versions of action games. Still make Souls games because they do well and people do love them, but don't neglect other types of action. These types of action deserve some love too. And they can be brought back. They should be brought back because they did, a lot of these sold moderately well, and some of them are developing a cult following. One of them developed a whole cult following so much that the game series has exploded here in the US. It exploded so much that they rechanged the title now to just what it's called in Japan, Like a Dragon. And another one of these straight up revived the entire series. I don't know if they're going to make any more, but this brought this series back, if it ever gets another one, because it was that well made. And a lot of it, that's what it comes down to. You can make a character action game too, but if it's not good, then no one's going to like it. And please, we could have seen more of this and re-release this on modern consoles. If you have a PS3 and you find it somewhere in the stray, give it a try. I did have a lot of fun with it. Anyways, those are my game recommendations to get over a little bit of the Souls-like fatigue. And then go back to the Souls games, because they are good quality games for a reason. There's a reason why a lot of them are successful. They're not my cup of tea personally, because as you can see, my type of action is much more frantic and fast-paced. But even if you love the Soulsborne games and you're never going to get fatigued of them, give some of these bad boys a try. Truly. You might find something you didn't even know you liked. Or maybe you can say, I tried every single one of these from start, maybe not from start to finish, but I tried every single one of these and I just can't get into it. Because that happens. I mean, that happened with me with the Souls games. It happens to people with turn-based RPGs. It happened to me with tactical games, like turn-based tactics games. Which is weird because I love turn-based RPGs, but turn-based tactics games is kind of where my brain just goes, blah. So maybe just not everything is for everybody, but give one of these a try. You might not love any of them, and you might not even like any of them, but like I said, you might find your next addiction. And that's always kind of worth it, isn't it? Just try something new. And then you can't leave what you love behind. So go ahead and platinum Dark Souls for the 3rd time. But try something new. Anyways, guys, that's all my thoughts for the day. Hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Oh, which one? Yakuza 0 is the Poultrygeist of action RPGs. Maybe. Or maybe Nier Automata is the Poultrygeist of action RPGs. Peace.